So you have all your pages cut. If you don't, let's say you're like, well, I thought about cutting that. You know, this will be due next week. But today we're going to continue on. If you don't have your pages cut, work on that right now. This is recorded, so I'll have this posted. You have your cover and your back cover. They're all ready. You have your pages ready and your alternative pages. What you want to do is just get one white paper right now, put the rest on the side. And we're gonna get this paper ready. So here's just one white paper, the extra one. You guys had to do 31, so here's that extra one. And we're gonna get this ready to be a template. So once we're done with this, we're gonna throw it in the trash. Or you could keep it for sentimental reasons because you guys love this class. So you have your one page ready. First things first, you want to make sure that you have the side that's the edge of the book, the edge, like where the spine is. So like, here's my paperback example. Here's the spine. So this is going to be the spine of my new book. It doesn't matter if your page looks different from mine. Like let's say you have an 8-inch page, totally fine. You're going to do the same exact thing that I'm doing right now. But what you want to make sure is where the spine is, you want that to be what's on the left. Like if this is my spine, I don't want to look at it like this. You want to have it looking at you like this. My book is only 6 by 8. So my spine is 6 inches. You're going to go from the bottom, and you're going to fold to the top. So that's one. Now we're going to do it again. From the bottom, we're going to fold to the top. Again, if you're not done with your pages, don't worry about this because you need them to be finished. You need them to be ready. And now we're going to do that one more time. So again, from the bottom, fold to the top. You're going to have this little tiny or somewhat small little straw looking piece.
Wait, how many times did we fold that?
3. So here, yeah, half and half and half. So here was my original paper. I folded it once. Yeah, straight up to the top, folded again twice, and I folded it a 3rd time. And you're legit just going straight from the bottom, straight to the top. So if you had your whole piece, it would go from the bottom all the way to the top. And then it gets a little bit smaller. And the same thing, that's gonna go from the bottom to the top. And then one more time. We do it 3 times. Now, oh, I forgot, you will need your ruler or some type of ruler. What you're gonna wanna do, again, so this is my left side. This is where the spine of my book is going to be. What I wanna do is roughly measure, as best you can, 1 inch. So I'm gonna take this edge, again, I'm gonna fold in. So I'm gonna get this edge and just like about 1 inch. Like you don't have to be like super perfect, but you wanna get about 1 inch in. It's not gonna be like really, really easy. So just, try your best. Okay, so there's about 1 inch. I put in. So it looks like a little sled. Yeah, that's what I was like, ski? No, that's not it. Well, I guess like kind of like a ski. So you have that inch in. And now what I'm gonna do, so I folded it in. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this part of the fold and fold it in half. I'm gonna get this edge, and I'm gonna fold it back. So it makes a little Z. A Z for Zentangle. No, I'm just kidding. And then just, give it a really good pinch, because it's gonna help us with mapping out our Japanese stab binding. Okay, so you have that little Z and then your long paper. And since no one is stopping me, I'm assuming that you're good, and we can move on to the next step. Now you're just going to open it up. So you have those creases in there, so that's what you really want. And now just open it back up to the full size of the paper. So what you're going to notice is you have a lot of horizontal lines, and then you have 2 vertical lines, like vertical creases, really. I'm going to use a pen because it's easier for you guys to see. And so what you'll notice is with these 2 vertical creases, there's the one that's closest to, or that's furthest in, it's closest to these really long horizontal lines. That's the one we're going to work on right now. Like, kind of ignore the other, like, vertical line crease. Where that vertical line and the horizontal line meet kind of makes like a little bit of a cross. At that junction, this first one, I'm going to make a dot. A little guiding dot. The next one I'm going to skip. And I'm going to make a dot at that junction. Same thing. Where the vertical and the horizontal meet. Again, I'm going to skip this one. And I'm going to make another dot. Again, skip. And on this last junction, make my dot. This is just an easy way to kind of get really good spacing without having to use the ruler. That's why I like the folding method. And that's why we're going to get rid of this page, because we don't need it once we're done mapping it all out and stuff. So now we're going to move on to that second vertical line that intersects with the horizontal lines. So at this first intersection, we're actually going to skip this one, and we're going to make a dot at the second intersection. Then same thing, we're going to skip this one and make a dot at this intersection. And then again, skip and make a dot at the last one. And again, this just helps with spacing. So on that first vertical line, the one furthest into your paper, you have 4 dots. And on that second vertical line, the one that's closest to the edge, you just have 3. And they're in between those 2. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Easy peasy, mac and cheesy. Now, what you're going to do is get your book, and this is going to go off to the side just for a quick second, just for a hot second. I have not finished my alternative pages yet because I was doing a million things last night, so I still need to do those, but I'm going to get this going for all of you because I can just undo it and fix it later. But what you want to do is, if your paper, your cover, if you feel like there is an up and a down, a top and a bottom, you want to organize this now, especially with your alternative pages. Like, for instance, let me show you. Oh, this is my book from my beginners. So like when I was putting this together, I have a lot of magazine as my alternatives. So I have to think about upside down, right side up. Same thing with you. If your alternative pages are simply lined paper or newspaper, it's up to you how you want to organize them, but you want to organize them because you have 30 white and 10 of those alternative. Do you want to do like 5 white and then slip in a few of those alternative? Do you want all the alternative at the back, in the middle, in the front? You decide placement. Where are those alternative pages going to go? And then how does your cover look? Like, is there an up and down? Do you have to, reorient it? So do that right now. Where are those pages going to go in your book? And it's up to you. Like, we'll use those pages, but it's up to you where they are in your book. Okay, so once you get that ordered and it's where you want it to go, bring this template back. And what you're gonna do is make sure you have the edge. Like, this is gonna be my spine. So my template's gonna sit on it like this. And then what you wanna do, with my beginning journals anyways, I was so like off with my cutting. It's okay. If you have some pages that are slightly bigger, or whatever, smaller, that's okay. What you really care about is the edge, because this is where we're gonna sew. We want this edge to be perfectly even, as best as perfect we can get. So you're just gonna do one of these numbers. Make sure it's even, and then get that template page there as well. Okay, that's pretty good for me. And then once you have that, oops, yes.
So we have to have everything set up already, right?
Yes, to do this next part. Well, yes, it's easiest if you do. So like, for instance, there's a few people who are still working on some pages and they're working on them right now while we're working. I don't have all mine done. I still need to work on those tonight, but I don't mind going through the hassle of having to like fix this all over again. Whereas you guys might want to jump out a window. Don't jump out a window. So if you have it all set, you can just go. For me, I'm gonna have to like undo, redo, make sure they're all aligned. So once your page is like, your book is ready, all the pages you need are together. Obviously mine is not, it's too tiny. Get that template on, get your clip, and you're just gonna clip those together, just like that. You don't need to put these down. It like puts too much tension on the papers I've found from the other periods. So you're gonna need your needle. Just like I talked to my beginners, you guys know this already. This is so easy to lose. Like, you're like, I'm just gonna set it down right here, and then suddenly it's gone. You're like, where did it go? I know it was there somewhere. Whenever you're not using it, put it on the fabric. It's just so much easier, especially if it's going in the bag, because this will poke a hole in the bag and then very slowly make its way out to travel to Paris. No, staying here with us forever. So get your needle. Just this first page, nothing yet, just this first page. For each of these holes, put your needle through them. You're gonna think of this white page as our template to help us map out for the rest of the book. And the reason why we don't do this is because obviously, like for me, I drew on this template so you guys can see it, but I don't want to draw on my nice paper. Right? I just need there to be holes there. So that's why we use this. Now, what you're gonna do is, and just be aware this is not challenging, but it takes a little getting used to. I usually just get like 3 pages. So I'll get like the cover and maybe like a few pages behind. And then I'm just holding the corner. I don't want to stab my finger in the back. So I'm just holding the corner. I make sure to lay it back down before I put the needle in. Because if I hold it up and then push the needle through, it might go like a slanted hole, which is just going to be weird once we get all the way down past those, what is it, 42 pieces of paper. So you really just want to not do that. Don't do it. So I put it down, and then I just very gently shove the needle into the paper. Once you get it in, just give the needle like a little needle dance. So that way the hole isn't super tiny. And then you keep going. Usually I tell you guys, like, pick your poison. If you want to do one hole and then slowly just get through the whole entire book and then move on to the next one, you can. I'm not, just simply because I want to keep track. I really want to make sure that I'm not missing a page, because that's going to be horrific tomorrow. So I'm just going to stick with the amount I have, and then just very slowly but surely go through each of these and get them prepped.
Mr. Chunde, can
And
I
then
just
so for me, because if you have a nail, yes, you cannot hammer my needle, no. You would also need something underneath it, but yes, you could. Like, that's why I asked it in the supply kit. I was like, do you have a thin nail and hammer at home? It's just most of my students said no, they didn't. Also, one tip, if the needle is like, if it's hard to hold, if you're like, oh man, I can't like get a good grip on this, and you happen to have water balloons at home or a balloon, for some reason, it's something about the rubber of the balloon. If you like wrap it around the nail, around the needle, you can get like a better grip on it and it won't slide. It won't slide through your fingers. And if this is making you frustrated, we would be doing this in class as well, like even if we were in class, because the tool you would normally use for this, it's called an awl, A-W-L, and they're too expensive. So we don't have any. Yes, you're eventually like, I go little bit by little bit, but then you're just supposed to go all the way back to the very back page.
I think it's
If you can go all the way through and yeah, you're gonna go backwards as well. Like once you finish going one way, you're gonna like flip the book over and then go backwards to make sure they're all like lined up. So if you get all the way through on one side, you just need to like find those holes again. And same thing, you're just gonna go from the back, because the thread I gave you isn't super thick. It's waxed linen thread, but it's not really thin either. So if you get these holes to be a good enough size, then you're golden. You just kind of have to find them because it's a little bit harder.
The paper that we're using for like the dots and all to like go through them, that's just a wrap paper, right?
Yes.
You can just use anything.
Yes, like that's just, yeah, we're gonna throw that one away when it's done. You don't want to let the binder clip off though, because we're gonna start sewing tomorrow. And so if you let it off and then like your papers move or whatever, you're gonna have to make sure they're realigned exactly. So I just say keep it on and not worry about it.